Okay, so this is the mark question, which is a really, really difficult question on this paper. It's probably one of the hardest questions I've seen in relation to Freud and dream work. Okay, so Mark is doing GCSE psychology and he asks his younger sister Sian about her dream. She describes dreaming about a princess in a blue fur coat who is riding on a horse-drawn carriage along a street with houses on either side. Mark thinks this may be because Sian really wants a rabbit for her birthday present and hopes that she will be taken out so that she can wear her new blue dress. You need to take that information, take the dream and take the interpretation that Mark has given, and what you need to do is you need to use the terms condensation, displacement and secondary elaboration to explain Sian's dream. Okay, it's a very, very hard question, but essentially it's asking us for 3 parts. It wants us to pick out condensation within the stem, within Sian's dream, and relate that to his interpretation. Then it wants us to do the same thing with displacement and the same thing with secondary elaboration. Okay, so looking at this, I've broken it down. So we've got the dream, which is the princess in a fur coat riding on a horse-drawn carriage along a street with houses on each side. And the interpretation is Sian really wants a rabbit for her birthday present and hopes that she will be taken out so that she can wear her new blue dress. You needed to make some links between the interpretation and the dream. Now, this is a model answer that I've given. So, in Sian's dream, there are several symbols in her manifest content that might appear unimportant, but that are represented for her. That represent her important underlying wishes. That's my definition of displacement. So the very first thing I've done is I've defined displacement. I've used keywords, so I've used the words manifest content and underlying wishes, okay, to define displacement. I've then talked about the dream and relayed the dream to the interpretation. So she has a hidden desire to get a rabbit for her birthday, but this is being represented as a fur coat. So if we go back again, she wants a fur coat. What I've done is I've taken the idea that the fur is furry, okay, and that kind of links to the idea of a rabbit because a rabbit is also furry. She has also the hidden desire to wear her new dress, but this is appearing in the dream as a blue coat. So again, going back, she has the blue dress there, and I've had to relay that in terms of the interpretation. Okay, I've had to take blue coat. What's that a bit like in terms of the interpretation? It's a bit like the blue dress. I've then done exactly the same thing for the other 2 dream works. So in addition, the content of Sian's dream is a combination of many of her underlying wishes, which have been condensed into one feature. This one's probably the harder one to do. So displacement's quite easy because you take one thing and you displace it with another thing. With condensation, what you've got to do is you've got to find several things within her wishes and her desires, and you've got to put those in, you've got to condense them into one thing in her dream. So according to Freud, this is called condensation. She has an underlying wish to have a rabbit and wear her dress at a party, but these 2 separate things are being combined in her dream to appear as a blue fur coat in her manifest content. So again, going back to the interpretation, she's got those several things within her dream, but it actually, several things in terms of the interpretation, but it's coming out as one thing in her dream. The last bit then, again, we're finishing off with secondary elaboration. I've given a definition of secondary elaboration, and then I've explained that within the dream and the interpretation. So according to Freud, this is called secondary elaboration. Sian's wishes and desires are not represented by the houses and side streets in her manifest content. So for this one, what I've had to do is I've had to search for things within the content, within the dream and within the interpretation that kind of don't match up. So in terms of her dream, there's the horse-drawn carriage and the side street and the houses, which really don't have any links to the interpretation that we've got. Okay, so we can assume that she's added those things on in order to create a story to make the dream make more sense. This was a really difficult question to do, so for those people that managed to do it, it's really, really well done. But hopefully this is kind of good practice for us in terms of this kind of interpretation question.